Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Enlightened Entrepreneur. This program is sponsored by World Outsourcing Solutions, where we specialize in helping business owners with all your outsourcing needs. And today I'm very, very excited to be having a PR lady who's been doing this for the last 3 years and has been helping business owners with their public relations. And I know for a fact that if you're a business owner, you will need an assistant with PR if you're to take your business to the next level, or if you are to get more clients or more customers, for you to appear in media. And today we have Hayley Smith, who's going to guide you in the process of how you can do exactly that. But before we jump on to introduce Hayley, a few things coming up in the pipeline. We will be having one of the star, an American star. I'm not going to reveal his name to you, but he is going to be talking about finances. If you are looking to improve your finance, I'll keep that as a secret, that he's a major player when it comes to financial advisor. If you be checking out on the emails, you will be able to know who that person is. And then after that, we also have another expert who will be focusing on your marketing. How do you market your business? So stay tuned. You will have a great time learning about finances and also about marketing your own business. With that said, I would like to introduce you to my good friend here, Hayley Smith, who is a founder of Boxed. In fact, I'll let her tell you her story. Hayley, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Incredible. I know you founded Boxed
PR, yeah.
Yes. Can you talk to us a bit about that, and then we jump on into your background?
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm the founder of Boxed Out PR, a London-based PR company. I set up the company almost 3 years ago when I was 24, and after being made redundant from the PR agency that I was working in, excuse me, I specialize in lifestyle PR, so it umbrellas sort of over the fashion designers, beauty brands, salons, interior design. I also work with food and drink companies, and I work with an autism charity called Anna Kennedy Online, as well as a few individuals. So I work with an amazing fashion photographer, there's Emma Jane Lewis, and I work with a social influencer, Rowena, as well as a personal trainer. And so it's a very varied selection of clients, but they all work extremely well together. So it creates a nice crossover opportunities for them as well, working together.
Incredible. Hayley, you were telling me earlier on, before we jump on the show today, that you started your company during the difficult time. Can you tell us a bit about that? What was happening during that time, and what made you to want to start your own organization?
Well, I was made redundant, and it was just in the middle of the UK recession. So there wasn't very many jobs. The jobs that were available were incredibly difficult to even try and get an interview. You were up for it for loads of people. Yeah. And then also what I was finding was that with the PR companies that are out there, at the time, it was still very led by traditional media.
Right.
So there was a lot of authentication and certification with traditional media, but it was the time also when Twitter was just taking off. So there was this cusp that it was sort of moving, PR was slowly moving over and journalism was slowly moving over to the digital era. But it wasn't like it is now. It was still being questioned. It wasn't set in stone. And so not a lot of companies were sort of experimenting or exploring the online world of PR potential.
Right.
But I was incredibly active on Twitter. I still am. It's one of my favorite platforms. And I felt that there was such a gap in the market with what Twitter can do and what Twitter could achieve. And obviously it's grown and you now have Instagram and Snapchat and all of these different platforms. And at the time, no one was leveraging this. So I wanted to create a PR company that was leveraging the online world and creating the online opportunities that we use now.
Right.
So it was almost sort of really important for me to be at the forefront. But setting up a company during a recession is not easy either. And hence why I started working from home. And just to sort of lower overheads, stop sort of unnecessary expenses. So it was kind of the best of both worlds, really.
Incredible. What I like about you is, despite the downturn, you found it in you the courage to go ahead and start something that you believe in. And I find that to be consistent among business owners, that when they have a solution that people need, they just go ahead and provide it, regardless of what time, whether it's in downturn or everything is working well. They just find a way of making things happen, and that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's scary. It's not an easy decision, but I'm a believer in the difficult decisions are always the best ones.
Right.
And have the best outcomes. And I've never looked back since launching the company. I had days where I thought, what am I doing? Why have I done this?
Yes.
And there's been days where sort of like you lose a client for no fault of your own, or something happens and you lose sort of like the steadfastness. But it's the days the days that go really well, and the results that I get from my clients and seeing how happy my clients are is what like pushes me forward.
Right. It's incredible. It was L. Nightingale, the father of personal development, really, as we know now, said something, that stayed with me. He said, the people that get ahead in this life are the people that look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you demonstrated there.
No, my favorite quote of all time, and it always has been, is do what you can with what you have where you are.
Incredible. And of course, providence will steps in once you make that initial step. Now, let's just dive in for a moment on your expertise. In our audience today, they may be a business owner who is looking to, to engage the service of a PR agent, or maybe your service. What criteria should they use in finding the right person to work with?
My biggest piece of advice is don't use a PR company unless you're absolutely 100% ready to.
Right.
Make sure that you have all of the business elements in place first. So have your website ready, have your followings on social media to initiated at least. Have a PR plan, and you'll get so much more out of it. In terms of choosing a PR agency, is don't make a selection and choose the one that's exactly right for your business. Just because they have the credentials and the results, it doesn't mean that they're the perfect match. So
right.
With them, talk to them, ask them questions. If they can answer all of your questions to a satisfactory level, they're the right company for you. I tend to, when I start working with clients or I'm in conversations with potential clients, I always spend time putting together marketing plans, marketing calendars, my portfolio proposals, so they can see exactly what I can do for their business. So there aren't any gaps, there's no questions left when we start working together.
Incredible. I like the sound of that. You mentioned, PR plan. What exactly do you mean by this?
So it's in terms of a marketing plan, so the press targets that I think suit the business, how to drive social media forward, how to grow social media followings and engagement, different strategies, ideas, campaign ideas, and then marketing calendars are sort of like a step-by-step, day-by-day guide of the activities that I intend to implement over a certain period of time.
Right.
So it just allows also to keep track with my clients, so we can keep track together. So it just creates a really good stream of communication.
Incredible. I love that you do that for your clients or your prospective clients, and you've just laid out the criteria which people can use. Is there anything else that people who are new to the PR needs to know, which I've not asked you about so far?
In terms of hiring or in terms of PR in general?
Hiring somebody who is going to look after you. Yeah.
That's, I think you just answered your own question, is hire someone that will look after you. The benefit that I offer to my clients is that it is just me that works with them on a daily basis. So they have a direct communication to the owner of the company on a 24-hour basis. They don't work on set hours because they just don't feel that makes PR consistent. They have a constant stream of communication with me. So I work with clients all around the country. So I can't necessarily do face-to-face meetings with them all the time, but I Skype them. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm on text. Most of them message me over Facebook. Twitter, I'm available all the time. And I think that's so important with having a PR person, is that you need that availability. With bigger PR agencies and if you can afford a bigger PR agency, then that's great, and they can do a lot for your business. But I always often find that you're sort of passed from account manager to account manager, and people leave and come on. At least with me, you know that I'm not going anywhere. And for all of my clients, even though I am growing and I intend to continue to grow and get bigger and hire people, I'm not going to lose that personal touch, that I'm not going to lose the stream of communication that they have with me. And I think it's so important, is just find someone that you can just work with all the time.
Incredible. Thanks, Hayley. Let's jump on to the roadmap. You mentioned earlier on, which is something I really liked about what you said. You said, don't rush to go to an agency. You can do it yourself. Have a plan first, and all that sort of things. If a business owner in our community today, listening to you today, if they want to do it themselves, what are the necessary steps that they need to take? Just beginning with the first one, and then we'll move on to the second one.
In terms of doing your own PR, it can be extremely time consuming, especially if you're a business owner and you've got the whole business to run and implement and grow. Right. And that's why it's easier to outsource, because you just leave for the professional to get on with it. But for companies that don't have the budget for PR, there is a lot you can do. As I said before, is Twitter is my absolute favorite platform for business growth. I think I've found about 80% of my clients on Twitter. And it's also fantastic for finding journalists, buyers, retailers, run competitions, engage with people. I think that, and I think I speak for all social media platforms there, is that just be active, just be really consistent on it, and the rest will follow suit. There's a lot of accreditation still in traditional and print PR, but you can get that from talking to people on Twitter, and business owners don't necessarily have time to go out and network all the time.
No.
So having Twitter that you can have as an open tab on your computer in front of you, you just engage in sort of every half an hour, every hour to a few people, or you're doing a search on Twitter, that's networking. And it's also growing your online network, which is as important as offline. And if there's someone that you meet on any platform that you think that could benefit your business, and they're close to you, or you can have time to meet them, ask them to go for coffee, ask to meet them, ask to Skype them. There are groups on Facebook that business owners can join. I'm on two amazing ones, Soulful PR and Ealing Businesses, which is local to where I am. And I've made so many amazing connections just from being on those groups. And I just think that it does take time, and that it's a lot. There is effort to find the networks and find the right people. But once you've started generating those conversations, it all flows. It flows through really well.
Incredible. Therefore, the message there for you, business owner, if you're listening, is just get out there and make it happen. Just procrastinating and staying away really won't produce much result.
even if you put an hour or two aside every evening or at the weekend just to do nothing but be on social media and just engage and promote and network on there, it will and it can convert to business.
Incredible. Say the business owner is doing all these things. Where do you see people making mistakes when it comes to attempting to doing it themselves?
It's usually not having that understanding or that guidance. It's usually sort of when you're on social media, I see it all the time, is that companies tend to push out information about their products and their services.
Right.
And then they wonder why they're not getting any engagement. It's because they're not engaging with anyone else. The promotional posts are less likely to be engaged with than personal ones.
Right.
So it's not just about direct promotion. It's sort of sharing articles that are relevant to your business, following the right people, engaging with those people, running competitions and offers, commenting on other, like the best way to do it is start a conversation with someone. If someone's sharing articles or sharing content that's relevant to your business that you feel that you can add to or you can engage with, do it. And it'll start a conversation. The best meetings that I've had are from just starting a conversation. I haven't mentioned anything about my business, anything about what I do. I've just commented on articles and comments of my own opinions.
Right.
And also with offline media as well, is that with network as much as you can, go to events. If you have the budget or the resources, organize events and invite people to them. It's just literally about PR is all about building those networks and building those relationships with people. The best thing that a PR agency can do for you is take that time away and have those relationships already in place. I have tons of press relationships in multiple publications, multiple blogs, social influencers, and business owners might not necessarily have those connections. So to hire the main benefit of hiring the PR agency is to have access to those contacts and take the time out of finding them. Right.
As we know, people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And
people love people. In a world where everything's online and so urgent, and it's such an instant society now that we live in, everyone wants it now. Right. People buy from people. If they can see the person, they're more likely to buy from them. So sort of like maintain a really personal presence online as well. Let people see your photos. Do online video, live Facebook video is the next best thing. It's brilliant. And it lets people know who you are. Especially with small businesses, right. People will buy from you, from the business, if they feel that they know the business owner.
That's right. If they feel that connection.
Mm.
Incredible. Is there anything that I have not asked you about that you feel would help business owners get started on this journey?
That's probably a lot of things.
Let's talk about two of them for a moment.
As I get a lot of people sort of ask me about websites and web development, SEO development. It's not something that I can do personally. I can offer advice and I can offer guidance, but it's not something I can hand personally. And this is what I mean about being ready for a PR agency.
Right. Because
someone can't find your website or someone can't find your blog or find you online, any amount of PR is not going to help that. You need to be in Google. It doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money. If any money, a lot of it can be done organically. It's just literally finding the right people that can guide you. And I have had several conversations with potential clients and have told them to come. I've directly told them they aren't ready for PR and to come back to me when they are, because I don't want to take their money and their budgets when I know that they're not ready for PR. B, the PR activities that I can implement aren't going to be as effective as they would be.
Right.
And my clients aren't going to see a return of investment, and that's what's important at the end of the day. So I can offer sort of advice on those and business development and things like that. And I also, as well, is that with business owners, especially business owners that are just starting up, I started out with sort of not so much a mentor, but advice from another business owner. Mentors are so effective for businesses and business owners at the beginning of the journey, because there are so many mistakes that you make, and so many mistakes that can be made. And it's just sort of the advice that they give you really, really puts you on the right path, and sort of gives you an idea of what you're doing and what you could be doing, and advice like that. So that's also some more advice as well.
Incredible. I love the way that you brought mentors in the subject we're talking about. I am a firm believer in having mentors, because without mentors, you may be able to achieve your goals, but it will take you a bit longer than if you have somebody else, showing you the rules of the game, so to speak.
It's just someone that has your back. It's someone that you can go to and ask questions and guidance, and sort of invest in them that you're doing the right thing.
Right.
And it is really difficult starting on your own, and it is really difficult starting a business. And just to have someone that's been there and done that can offer you that advice, and that like amazing advice, that like it has so many advantages.
Incredible. It actually changed your business, for good if you do it well.
Yeah.
Hayley, I want to take you back to those few, maybe the first year of you running your own business. You were moving from being an employee to being an employer, from working for somebody else, and really being the person with the last word. What sort of changes had to take place in you for you to continue working on your own?
I've always been really good at talking to people.
Right.
And I've always been really good at building relationships, making friends, making networks.
Right.
But it's kind of having the confidence to put yourself in those situations where you need to get something out of it.
Right.
So obviously when you make friends, you make a friend, and you make a contact, and you build and you enter a relationship, you find a partner, and you don't necessarily need anything from them. You're willing to give yourself to them.
Right.
Whereas with business relationships, it's the same principle, but you have to expect almost something back. And that's where the confidence is, to really sort of push yourself out there, promote what you do.
Right.
And also when I started, I had a mortgage, I owned a house. And so it was kind of not even having to gain the confidence, it was needing to gain the confidence, because I had a mortgage to pay, I had bills to pay.
Right.
And so it was, if I didn't find a client straight away, I had my house taken away from me.
That's right.
So that kind of kicked me into gear as well. But it wasn't, I think that going from employee to self-employed is a massive transition, because you have so much to think about. It isn't just, you're not jumping into another job or a step forward to your career. You've got suddenly this whole sort of mess in front of you where you're like, okay, so I've got to start a business. I've got to find customers. I've got to sort my accounts out. I've got to register to the tax office. I've got look at company's house. I've got to build this online presence. It's one person doing so much.
That's right.
And it really does give you a reality check of, okay, I need to be organized. I need to be punctual. I need to know what I'm doing, so I don't make silly mistakes. And I think that it's kind of a whole character change that you have to adopt.
That's right.
I remember saying to my mentor as such when I started the company, I had a couple of sessions with him, and I remember him saying, he's like, when you start a business, you don't have a life. Your business is your life. It's 24/7. And I remember starting thinking, it's not too bad, it's fine. And then as the business, sort of 4 months into the business, and I signed my first client, and I'm like trying to cover everything, I was working till midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, and I'm getting up at like 7, 8, if not earlier, and thinking, okay, yeah, I know exactly what he means now. And it is literally an entire, you adopt an entire different personality. You change overnight.
Absolutely. One of my guests put it this way. He said you move away from 9 to 5 to working 95% of your time.
Yeah, 9 to 5 doesn't exist anymore.
I think it's one thing that comes as a shock to a lot of business owners, that when you start working for yourself, now you have to be more focused. It's no longer going to work to clock hours. It's have to do something that will produce a result, and you have to look at each activity, objectively. Is this taking me to where I'm going? Or which is totally different from when you're an employee. As an employee, you just have to do something because they've been told to do it,
You have this whole thing as well, is that when you're an employee, you finish at 5 or 6 or whenever you finish, and you switch off, and that's it. No work now until tomorrow.
That's right.
You don't have that as a business owner. You don't have that when you're self-employed, because there's so much to do, and you leave all of like the admin stuff and things to the side for the evening or the weekends. I do my accounts at the weekends. And so you don't have that switch off. And also is that working from home, and I'm sure several business owners can completely relate, is I work at my desk all day. I sort of get out of bed, get ready, come to my desk, finish, leave my desk, make dinner, come back into the living room, which is where my desk is. You don't have that break. You don't sort of have that switch off.
That's incredible. Incredible. A lot of business owners can identify with that. Now, during those difficult days, how do you manage, Hayley? How do you get yourself up again and keep going?
Music's great. Music's great therapy. It can really, really get me going, but I have to be careful not to sing along. It's just a case if you have to. I've like over the years that I've done it, I've lost a few clients, I can say, as no fault of my own, but it's one of those things that you have that initial panic and you're like, okay, I need to cover this now, but something sets in and it doesn't. You have two choices basically. You can either be sad about it or you can be happy about it, and you can think, okay, I'm going to use this to the time that I have spent on this client, I can invest now into finding a better client.
That's
or
right.
You be miserable all day and think, oh my God, like my business is falling apart. And that's not going to do anyone any favors, you or your customers, you or your clients. And as a PR agency and anyone working with business to business, sort of you have the responsibility of working with these businesses. So losing one client or losing a customer or losing some sort of business is you still have those other businesses to take care of. So they rely on you not to fall apart.
That's right. If you fall apart, that means you are creating uncertainty in them, and people don't like that sense of uncertainty.
No, and I think as well is that I think a massive sort of learning curve for me was when I came out of my mortgage and I was in a relationship with my ex-partner, and I came out of that and I came out of the mortgage, and I had to move away from London and the skirts of London to Suffolk with my family. And I was and it was just in the middle when the business was just starting to sort of come into its own.
Right.
And it was really difficult because I had to move away from a town which I knew. So I knew where all the business ops were, into a town that I knew nothing about, a really tiny village where there wasn't many businesses going on. Yeah. And so having to sort of put my expenses into coming back and from London all the time, dealing with stuff going on with the mortgage and selling the house and things like that. And luckily it was only a temporary solution, but I had to really, really make a decision. And it was like, okay, I either continue with my business and I might not be able to do as well as I could, or I stop and I take a break and I sort this out and then move on again.
Right.
And I decided to do that. And even though I was still working in the meantime, it meant that I didn't have to fully focus on everything. And then everything was waiting for me when I decided to start again. And I was in a position where I moved back to London. I met my current partner, who's now working with me on the business, and it's all gone like full steam ahead and it's amazing. But it was that kind of break and that made me reassess everything.
Right.
And I think sometimes it's a blessing, because sometimes you do need that. And you kind of, my best advice to business owners is, if you do feel that there's things going wrong,